This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, can you all see it?
Yes.
Kamal, you're not audible.
Well, we can see the screen.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So see here, we have discussed a whole lot of things. Okay, and we are left with very few things I can say. Okay, from that we are left with bad jobs, workflows, and then extensions. Okay, so today we will start with bad jobs. So I will explain you how to work with the run base and sysop, both of them. But please remember, try to use sysop here. Don't use run base batch. Okay, because run base has its own disadvantages. Okay, now first of all, what is a batch and how to set it up in the front end? These are the two usual questions that we have. See here, if you want to run something recurrently, then we need to use something called batch job. And coming to these batch jobs, we have different frameworks. Okay, in AX 2009, the batch framework was started with run base batch. Okay, so now coming to this run base batch, we used to have a single class called run base. Okay, we used to have a class called run base, and if we want to create a run base batch, we need to derive our own class from run base class, and then we need to use the batch methods. Okay, that is how the run base is to work. But in the case of run base, we used to have some set of predefined methods. Okay, set of predefined methods where we need to write our code, where we need to write our piece of code, and then we need to implement them. Okay, and what is the drawback in this case? You have a single class, and this is not an MVC model. So obviously, one developer, one batch, one developer, one run base. So that's a big deal. So if multiple developers work on the same thing, then it will be faster and it will be finished soon. Whereas coming to the run base, for creation of dialog, for creation of the code, the user interface, the data management, the control, everything should be done in a single class. So obviously it used to take a lot of time, and only single developer will be able to work on that particular class at a time. Okay, so what they have done is, instead of going with a run base, okay, each and every time if you need a batch, we need to go with run base. Instead of that, Microsoft came up with an approach where we can create a method as a batch. In a class, create a simple method and you can make it a batch. That can be done using sys operation framework. And in this sys operation framework, it's based on the MVC architecture here. We already seen what is MVC. What is MVC? Model view controller. We have seen in SSRS reports. The same thing is available in sys operation framework as well. Okay. Now see here. Let me right click on the add button, new item, class, and then let me call it as AMA run base demo. Okay, I will call this as AMA run base demo. So this is my batch class. Okay, so in this batch class, whatever the operation you want to do, you can do that. Okay, so whatever the operation you want to do in the batch class, now you can do that. If you want to insert something into the table, you can do that. Okay, or you can ask me, what is the practical example of a batch job? Let's say you have a bank account, and every year the bank account will be credited with some amount here called interest. Is that right? So how the interest will be calculated? 4%. Every year someone will click on your account and then add the interest. No, that is the automated process. This is called batch job. Okay, we will use this batch job to run something recurrently. Here, if you want to create a run based batch, we need to extend the class with run base batch. Okay, we need to extend the class with run base batch, and there are few important methods which we need to extend or which we need to override in case of this run base batch. Okay, so to see that, let me open this run base batch in a designer mode. AMA run base demo class. Okay, where did it go? Oh, I don't know. Oh, okay, project settings. Okay, let me open this in a designer mode. Open designer, and if I right click and click on the override, and you can see again there will be whole lot of methods. Okay, we are not going to use all these methods. From this there are few methods which we will use. Run. So what is run method? If you want to perform some business logic, if you want to perform some business logic, we will write that business logic in the run method. Okay, and there is one more method, a static method called description. Okay, and it will be client server static. Okay, it can run on the client tab or the server tab. Okay, to say that we are using client server static, and then we have a method called description. And if you want to display some description, then we will use this method. Otherwise, this is not needed. Okay, you can simply say return. What should I do in this batch job here? I will say select customers. Okay, I don't know to, because we can see just how to work with a batch in this. So I want to select the customers and display the details on the info log. We can do that. Okay. Next, this is the description method where we are going to write the description. And let's say similarly, you want to do select customers. Okay, this is the description. Next, if you want to set the caption, let's see if there is any method for that. Click on the override button and then caption. And let me remove all these things. And let me say return run base batch demo. Done. Run base batch demo. In the return, I will write run base batch demo. Okay. See here. And one more thing. Sometimes you want to create a dialog and you want to get a lookup. You can do that. Yeah. How to do that? How to do that? To do that, we have two methods. One is called pack, and the second one is called unpack. We need to pack the variables, and then we need to unpack the variables. How to do that? For example, let's say I want to take the date. Okay. Do you have an EDT? Okay, or some amount, AMA generic amount, and then I will create a variable called amount, and here I will create one dialog field, and I will call this as DLG amount. Okay, and how to pack these variables? To do that, we have few macros. From that, hash define dot current version. Okay, this is the version of the variables we are defining. So here, most of the times the people will define this current version and version, but they will not think what is the purpose of it. See here, this current version and version, these macros are needed. These macros are needed only when if you are creating multiple batches using the similar class. Okay, let's say in the same class you have different version. You want to get the use the different version of variables in different requirements. Then we will use this current version and version. Okay, and then to pack the variables, we will define a local macro. Okay, a local macro, and let me call it as current list. Let me call it as current list. Sorry. And what are the variables in it? I have only one variable called amount. Okay, like this, if you have n number of variables, you can use all n number of variables. Okay, you can use any number of variables here. Yeah, you need to use comma separated, and then you can add those variables to this current list macro. You can do that. Okay, if you want to add one more, you can add call sales status. You can add it and you can use it. That's possible. And once you are done with declaring the parameters, if you want to parameterize, then oh, it's throwing the error. Good. Okay, description. Okay, save. Okay, now we are done with getting the current list and everything. What is the next step? What is the next step? If you want to use the construct method, then you can simply say server static, and what is my class name? AMA run base demo. AMA run base demo construct, and then what you need to do here? You need to return new. So this is as part of the best practice. Okay, if you want to do this or not, that's up to you. This is as part of the best practice. Okay, as part of the best practice, we need to write the construct method. And then let me check if there are any other methods I want to see. Let's say we have the initialization as well, init. In this initialization, it's saying boolean. I want to return true all the time. And if you want to initialize something, you can do that here in the initialization method. I'm simply returning true. I'm not initializing the values, but I'm simply returning true out of this method. Okay. There is one more important method. Okay. Let's see what is it. Can go batch. If you want to use run based framework, and if you want to run your code as a batch, then you need to return true from here. Okay. If you want to execute as a batch, you need to return true. If you don't want this as a batch, you can return false. If you return false, it's not a batch. Okay, and then you have few more methods. Okay, if you want to run it using the service account, then you will have something called run impersonated. Similarly, if you want to validate something, we will have a method called validate. Here you can validate. Okay, here what we can do, here you can validate. Okay, here what you can do, simply you can write some validation, and then you can do whatever you want. You can simply say, because amount is a global variable, you can say amount is less than or equal to 0.00, and then you can simply say I have removed, so I will say return check failed. Okay, and then in the bracket value should be greater than 0. Done. This is how it works. This is how it works. Otherwise you can simply say return true. Done. If it is does not go in the if condition, it will return true. So this is how you can validate here. You can also do whatever the validations you want. And now I told you about two methods, packing and unpacking. Let's override them. Click on the override, and we have a method called pack. And in this pack, currently there is nothing, and it is written in the container. So in this container, what does the pack do? It will get all your variables with the global variables, and then it will pack them. Global variables in the sense you need to define the macros here. Return. So we have defined two macros. One is called current version, and the other one is called current list. Done. Okay, and now click on the override, and you can use the other method. What is that method? Unpack. Okay, the method name is unpack, and in the unpack method we need to unpack the variables. How to do that? You can take the version equal to, we have a class called run base, and in this run base we have a method called get version, and then here it's saying the packed class, and you can simply use this packed class. Okay, once you pass this packed class to the version, sorry, get version, it will return the version number. And here if you want to use if and else, you can use if and else. Switch case, use switch and case. Whatever you want, you can use switch, and then in the bracket version. Okay, see here I have a single version of variables, so actually there is no need of using the version. but few of the times you will have the multiple set of variables. So I am showing you how to use it. I am saying current version, and then we need to get the version, comma, hash current list from the container. This packed class is a container. From this packed class, you get both of them. And then you can say break default. What you want to do by default? Simply say return false. We are saying that we don't have any parameters. Okay, if it does not come to this switch, then return true. Okay, this is how we are going to pack and unpack the variables. This is how we are going to pack and unpack the variables. Now let me check. I told you about the dialog. We have added the global parameter. I have something called dialog here. So in this dialog, create your dialog here. To create the dialog as well, there is one class. There is a class called dialog run base. There's a class called dialog run base. I am taking a dialog and then I am assigning super here because I want to get the dialog from the super call. And then we have to define the dialog fields now. What is that? DLG amount. This is my dialog field. And you can say DLG amount equal to dialog dot add field. Okay, or we can use the field value. You can use whatever you want. And in this, you need to say extended type str, extended type str in the bracket AMA generic amount, comma any type value. What is the value name? The value name is amount. We have created a variable now, amount. You need to use this and simply say return dialog. Done. This will show the dialog. Now how to get the values from the dialog? To get the values from the dialog, we have a method called get from dialog. Click on the override method, override, and you can see get from dialog. And in this get from dialog, you can get the values. You can get the values. How to get the values? AMA generic amount value equal to dialog amount dot value. Okay, done. Here let me give some info so that we will print the values. Info, and then we will say strfmt string format, and then I will say percentile 1 comma amount value. Or just I am printing the value. Okay, and here it returns boolean, so let me return true. If you want to do something else with these values now, you can do that in the get from dialog method. Okay, and then what else is left? Let me check if there are any other methods. Okay, where is, did I override run method? Yeah, I have overridden. So here let me do one thing here. Below this super, I am not performing any business logic. If you want to perform some business logic now, you can do that in the run method. What I will do is I will simply say info perform business logic here. Okay, I am writing perform business logic here. You can perform if you want to insert some data into this, you can do that. If you do something else, you can do that. Okay, and once we are done with all these methods, there should be entry point now. Okay, by default, if you create a menu item, then you can also bind with run, or if you want to create a mini entry point, you can say static void main, and then you can use args underscore args. Okay, you can use this as well as the entry point, and then we can say AMA run base demo. I'm creating an object equal to new AMA run base demo, and here So by default, there is a method called prompt. So what is the purpose of prompt? To show the dialog. Is that right? To show the dialog, we will use this prompt obj.run. Done. We are done with our batch. Okay. So these are the methods, and this is how we need to work with the batch here. Okay. Similarly, sometimes people used to ask me, can I use a query, AOT query in a run-based batch? You can do that. Okay. If you see here in the override, I don't remember that method name. Okay, you have a query run. Okay, query run. In this, you can get the query and you can update the data source and you can add the range, whatever we have, you can do that. Okay. And similarly, if you want to show the query values, yeah, you have it. Show query values. If you want to have the select button for your AOT query, you can have the show query select button. Okay. So these are the few methods. And now, coming to the batch jobs, what we need to do? We need to create a menu item called action menu item. Now let's see what is the difference between this action menu item, display menu item, whether there are properties are same or not, because already we have seen output and we found properties are same. Now I will call this as AMA run base demo. Okay, and then click on the add button, go to properties, and then set me git label run base demo. And remember one point, if you want to debug batch jobs, you need to attach batch.exe process. Okay, you need to attach batch.exe process. Please remember this. And then let me select a object AMA run base demo. Okay, AMA run base demo. Done. Now do a rebuild. Oh no, let me add it to the menu. Let's see directly in the front end itself. Menus, shopping management system, open. This is my run base demo menu item. Let me add to the setup. Save. Do a rebuild. Done. Okay, this is what is called run base batch, and this is how we will write the methods for it. And please remember, coming to the run base batch or the sys operation batch, it is similar to a class itself. Okay, just we have defined the frameworks. And coming to the sysop, we have a MVC architecture. Okay, and in the sys operation batch job, okay, in the sys operation batch job, there are few additional things that we need to remember. So what are those? Run that. We need to create a service class. We need to create a controller class. Okay, these two are mandatory. Okay, where if you want to work with the sys operation framework, now we will create a service class, and then we will create a controller class. Okay, and coming to this as well, I told you it's a MVC model. Along with this, we have data contract, and then we have UI builder. Okay, we have UI builder. I will show you how to work with the data contract, controller, and service. UI builder, I want you people to try it out. Okay, see here, service class. The core business logic that should be performed is written in the service class. Controller class, you have the interface, user interface, the dialogues, and then you have the contract. If you want to orchestrate the data between both of them, we will use the controller. If you want to create a parameters or something like that, then we'll go with the data contract. Okay, so these are the different classes available in sys operation framework. Sys operation framework. Okay, build got completed successfully. Let me rerun this one. I'm waiting for build to finish here. Sorry, it to load here. Got opened. Now let me select this and go to shopping management system, and then let me set up data, run based demo. We got it. So once I select the run based demo, it's still loading. Oh no, what happened? Did we assign everything to? Oh, it's loading. Let it load. Okay, now you can see this amount is a parameter. You can set 10. If you set 0, it will throw the error. And then this is the important thing here. Run in background. If you set it to batch processing, then only this will run as a batch. If you don't set this to batch processing, then it will not run as a batch. Okay, we have given the task description as run based batch demo. And then this batch group, if you have multiple servers and if you want to allocate servers to the batch as well, then we will use this batch group. Okay, by default it's a single VM. There are multiple batch groups and we are going to assign the same server. I will show you within a minute how to assign the server as well. And if you don't want to run this as a batch, you can simply remove this batch processing. Okay, now let's say I want to run this in a batch. So let me set batch processing to yes, and then recurrence. How many times you want to run? Is it yearly, daily, monthly? That we are going to set up using the recurrence. Minutes, I will say run this every 1 minute. No, I will set it to no end date. Okay, here time zone is specific US and Canada. Click on OK button. Okay, if everything is set, then it will start running this batch job. Every 1 minute it will run the batch job, and then we can see it on the front end. Okay, let's wait for a minute. Oh, value from XML node should be oh yeah, I got it, beep. Okay, should be greater than 0. Yeah, it has not took the value. Okay, from it is throwing the error from somewhere else. 1 second, let me check why it is throwing the error. Value should be greater than 0. Okay, if the amount is less than or equal to 0. Unfortunately, it did not get the amount here. Can you say this? Why did not get the amount? Get from dialog. Why did not get the amount? Because I have taken the local variable. So what you need to do? Here you need to set amount equal to this one. If you take the global variable and do the assignment, then it will not throw the error. Let me do a rebuild and we will see it back again. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Hi, Kumar.
Mohammed?
Yes. So, what will be the use of this batch job in day-to-day work in real time?
Let's say, in real time itself, I don't one example. Let me repeat the same. Let's say you have a bank account. Okay. Every month interest will be credited to your bank account or not?
Yes,
Is it a manual thing or an automated thing?
automated thing.
That's what is done by the batch job. Okay. If you want to perform something regularly, we need to create a batch job. The recurrent fashion. If you want to execute something in a recurrent fashion, then we need a batch job.
So can we do a task like generating a report automatically?
Do that, you can do that. Okay, here if you see this, I wrote perform business logic here. At this position, if you perform the business logic to generate the report, you can generate the report. At this position, if you want to perform some third party operation in the, if you want to hit the service, you can hit the service and you can process it. You can do whatever you want here.
Okay.
Okay, that's what is for batch job. Okay, let it run. Okay, now you can say this in the modules. Let me go to shopping management and here run based demo. Okay, now we will see whether we get that error or not. Let me give it as 10, run in background. Let me set it to batch processing, click on recurrence. Come on, let it load here. And you can say no end date, minutes, you can set it to 1. Okay, click on OK button. If everything goes fine, it will schedule a batch job. Now you can see it is saying something. Perform business logic here 10. It has performed the operation. Now, so the same thing. If you want to perform in the sys operation batch, we can do that. To do that, there are multiple ways. Okay, there are multiple ways. See here, one more thing I want to show you here is, if you go to system administration, okay, and then here you will have something called batch group. So this is where we are going to set up the servers. Please remember this. Okay, so here I have only one batch server, so I can only set up one of them. But if you have n number of batch servers, let's say 3 or 4, you can set up server to each batch group. We will create multiple batch groups and we will select the batch servers. Remember, you need to select the batch server. And one more important thing is, to check the batch jobs, you can go to system administration and there will be a screen called batch jobs. Okay, one second, let me check.
Here in database.
Okay, this is the batch job screen. So on this batch job screen, we can see the jobs that were scheduled and which are running. Okay, you can see all those things in the batch jobs here. That's possible. Okay, so this is how we are going to work with the batch jobs. Now, I told you there is one more with MVC architecture. We call it as a sys operation framework, and we have these 4 different types of classes which we can extend. Okay, so let's see how to work with it. Okay, so first of all, I want to create a contract class. Okay, I don't want to go show you the service directly. I want to create a contract class first. Okay, so this is the data contract. Go to code and then create a class. Let me call this as AMA sysop data contract. AMA sysop data contract. Click on the add button. Okay, click on the add button. It has added a new class for us here. Okay, and now for data contract, what we need to do? We need to add an attribute called data contract attribute. Okay, data contract attribute, and you can create any number of data members. Okay, AMA generic amount, and you can call this as amount. And let me create one param method. Okay, and for this param method, we need to again add an attribute called data member attribute. Okay, now if you want to use this data member in sys operation framework, and if you want to get some label, we need to use sys operation label attribute, sys operation label attribute, and then you can say amount here, you can say amount here, and here there is one more attribute called display order. If you have multiple members and if you want to display them on the order, then we have sys operation. Okay, it's display order attribute, and then you can say simply one here, and now it will come at the first position. And if you want to add some help text, we have sys operation help text attribute. What is that? Sys operation help text attribute, and then you can say this is amount field. Okay, this is how we need to work with the labels in data members. Similarly, now public AMA generic amount param amount in the bracket, you can say AMA generic amount underscore amount equal to amount. Done. Okay, and here you can say amount equal to underscore amount return amount. Okay, amount. Done. This is how we create a data contract here. As simple as this. This is how we create a sys operation help text attribute. Label type bracket expected. Why? What we are missing here?
Comma after one.
Exactly. This is right. We have missed comma here. Okay. And then we have got amount equal to underscore amount and then return amount. So now we are returning the amount value from the data contract. As simple as this. So after creating the data contract, what is the next step? We need to create a service. How to create a service? Click on the add button, new item, class, and you can call it as AMA sysop service. Okay, or if you want to just call service, you can call it as a service. Class is not needed. Okay, AMA sysop service. Now in this service class, in case of reports as well, we have the data provider. That is a service class. We have one method. What is that method? Process report. Okay. Now let's see. Extends sys operation service base. We need to extend this with sys operation service base. Now let me open this in the designer mode. Right click. All right. Can you see this? These are the methods available. If you want to modify something in your batch, then you can do that. Okay. Here as well, we need to define one method similar to that of a process report. It's not there for override, but we need to define it. I will call that method as public void process operation. I will call that method as process operation. And few of the times people used to ask me, can I write any other method? You can write it here. The name is up to you. Okay. I have given this name so that it will show us we are performing business logic here. Now here AMA sys op data contract. This is the data contract, and I will call it as underscore contract. I am passing the contract class as the parameter here. Okay, I am passing contract class as the parameter here. Now, how to get the data from the contract? It's very simple. First of all, I will simply use info, and then I will say strfmt, and then value is %1, comma, you can say underscore contract dot param amount. Done. And here whatever you need to do is perform business logic of batch here. If you want to perform any business logic, okay, someone asked me about the reports. If you want to perform that report business logic or whatever the business logic you want to do, we will do that business logic in the service class, and that too in this place. We will do that business logic here. Done. In the service class, we will have only one method, process report, over there, process operation here. Or you can call it as process sysop operation or something like that. Whatever you want, you can call it. Okay, done. Now, what is the last step of the sys operation framework? It's the controller. Okay, now you can create a controller class. Okay, to create a controller class, I will take runnable class here. Anyways, we need main method. We will have that now. So I will create runnable class. Okay, even if you create a class, you need to create the main method. Even if you create a runnable class, you need to create the main method. Okay, I will say AMA sysop controller. AMA sysop controller. Click on the add button. It will add this for us. 1 second, it's loading. Okay, now in this sys operation controller, you need to extend this with sys operation service controller. Okay, to create a sys operation batch, we need to extend it with sys operation service controller. Now let me go to this one and check what are the methods available. Open the designer mode and right click on the override. You can see there are a lot of methods. Okay, these are the similar methods which are available in run base. Okay, but these are not needed, all of them, only few are needed. Okay, first of all, I will take the constructor, because I should say here what is the service class. If you remember, in the controller we told which report to open. The same thing should be done here as well. So what I will do is I will create a method called public void new. I will say super. I am saying call the controller of sys operation service controller, call the constructor of sys operation service controller, this dot param. All these are the methods available in the sys operation service controller here. Okay, class name I need to say, which is my service class. I will say class str and in the bracket AMA sys op service. This is my service class. This dot param method name. Here I need to say method str, which is my service method. What is that? AMA sysop service and then process operation is the method name. Done. This is what we need to do. And similarly, if you want to set some captions to the dialog or whatever you want, you can do that. This you can write it in the initialization, or you can write it here as well. Param dialog caption, and add some caption here. Sys operation contract demo. Okay, done. Now next, come to the main method. What we need to do in the main method? In the main method, we need to perform the logic. Okay, we need to start the operation. To do that, take this AMA sysop controller and then you can say controller equal to new AMA sysop controller, and then controller dot, there is a method called start operation. If you call this method, the batch will get scheduled. That's it. This is how we will work with the sys operation framework. As simple as this. Now you can see param class name and param method name. These two are there. Okay. So using those two, I told you that we can create a method as a batch. Let me click on the add button, new item. I will create a simple class here. I will call this as AMA sysop method demo. Okay. Click on the add button. It will create a new class for us. And here I will simply create one method, public void process batch. I am not adding anything else, and then I will simply say info can be scheduled as batch. Okay, done. Now we will see how to make this as a batch and then how to work with the sysop batch. So to do that, I will create a menu item first of all. Click on the add button, new item, and go to user interface. Create a action menu item. Let me call this as AMA sysop demo. Click on the add button. Go to properties. I will call this as sysop demo, and here I will come down. I have object type. I will set it to class object. I will say AMA. One second, let it load. Sysop demo controller. Sysop controller. Okay, I have set the controller class. Done. Now I will create one more menu item. Right click, add button, a new item, and I will create one more action menu item. I will call this as AMA sysop method demo. We will see the difference between both of them. And I will go to the properties. I will say sys operation method demo. Okay, done. Now if you come down, we have something called form here. I will select the class and then sys operation one second, select service controller, and here I have the enum type parameter. I will select sys operation execution mode. This is very important, and I will set it to schedule batch. Synchronous means at the same time, asynchronous means at the back end. Reliable asynchronous and schedule batch both are similar. Okay, they are used for scheduling the batch. Okay, if you want to run at the same time, you need to select synchronous. In all the other conditions, you need to select the batch if you want to schedule as a batch, or if you want to run it in the back end, you need to select asynchronous. Okay, here I have parameters. I will set this parameter to where is this parameters? Parameters here. I will use this dot. What is the method name? Process batch. Save. Done. Okay. Now let me go to this shopping management system. Open, and let me add these two menu items. Method demo, and the other one is sysop demo. Save. Let me do a build. Okay. And please remember, if you want to debug the batch jobs, you need to attach a process called batch.exe. You can see here in the services it will be available. Batch management service. This is responsible for running batch jobs, and you will find a job, the same one, in the name of batch.exe. This is the one. This is responsible for running the batch jobs. So if you want to debug, you need to use this batch.exe. Please remember. Okay. Build got finished, yeah. Now let me open the front and see whether our batch jobs are working or not. Let it load. And did your people try working with integration? Hey, did anyone tried it or not? Okay, let it load. Okay, now let me go here and let me go to shopping management system, and you can see sys operation method demo. Let me select this. Let's see what happens. I did not add any dialogue or anything here. In case of previous, we have added. What is this here? I got directly as a batch. What is this? This is the benefit of sys operation framework. Whereas the same thing is not possible with run base. If you want to do this with run base, you can't do that. This is the benefit of sys operation batch job. Okay, the same thing you can't do with run base. Please remember that. This is very, very important. Okay, in sys operation, you can simply create a method and you can see it has added to the batch queue, and then you can run it in a batch. Okay, now let's see the second one, sysop demo. We will see the difference. If you want to add the parameters, if you want to add something else, if you want to add a rich UI, then you will go with all these classes. Contract, all these classes, when you will go? Only when you want changes in the user interface. Okay, or you want to perform some different things, okay, in the business logic, then you will go for these classes. Otherwise, if you don't need the parameters or like this, then you can simply create a method and you can make it a batch here. That is the benefit of sys operation framework. Please remember. Okay, this is very, very important. Most of the people don't know about this, how to work with this. This is the way. It's very simple. Okay, if I ask sys operation framework, everyone used to say a lot of things. And you know, batch as a service, there is a concept called batch as a service. Sys operation is called batch as a service. Oh, the second one is also scheduled. Okay, now if you go here and you can see in the batch jobs as well if you want. You can go to batch jobs and you will find the batch jobs that we have scheduled. Okay, so this is about the sys operation framework. This is about sys operation framework and how to schedule it is a batch. You can schedule it synchronously, you can schedule it asynchronously, and you can do whatever you want with this. Okay, yeah, this is about the batch jobs. I want you to try and I want you to check how it is working, and I want you to perform some business logic if possible. Already Mohammed has given one good idea regarding the reports. I want you to try that. Okay, generate a report and let me know if you face any issues while generating a report and a PDF file in the batch job. I will solve your issues. Okay, because that is the general requirement. Okay, generating a reports in a batch and then place them to a shared location or somewhere. That will be the generic requirement. So you can try it out. Okay, but in Azure we'll place them in the service bus or we'll place them in the blob. Okay, yeah. Now it's your time. Please let me know if you have any queries. If there are no queries, we will end session for today. And tomorrow we will see workflows. And day after tomorrow we will see the remaining topics. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I did not attend the classes for SSRS.
Hmm?
So I want to ask that can we use a report same like SQL Server just by adding the data source and can we use that URL in Dynamics?
Which URL? You mean to say SQL Server reporting services URL?
Yes, yes.
It's not the way by using URL here. In AX it is different because in AX we have a framework for SSRS. You can see the videos, huh? If you see the videos, you will get it. Otherwise,
Yeah,
please let me know wherever you have the queries.
no,
Because
I
there
see
is no
that.
need. Okay.
Yeah, these are some queries I have. So can
There is
we?
no need of using the URL. Why you will use the URL? SQL Server URL, there is no need of using it because that will happen in the backend.
No, is there any possibility to attach it in the
You can do
Dynamics?
that. You can do that. You
We
need
can
to
use
use the
that.
service because that's a service call. You need to use the service and then you need to call it. You can do that.
Okay. And do we have any drill through report or like
Drill
sub
through is
report?
there. From one report, you can open another report. There is a property called enable auto drill through. You can do that. Drill through is there.
And in the UI, SSRS UI,
Hmm?
you have added one radio button in one
Yes.
example.
Hmm.
So can we have a drop down list and can
That's
we
a combo box. You can do that.
can you load
In
the
the
data
UI
from
builder, yeah, in the UI builder, in the SRS report UI builder, in
yes.
that you need to write a lookup. Use a query because if there is a sys table lookup, I think that is the sys lookup table. I don't remember the class name. You can generate a lookup directly using that class. You can attach the AOT query to that lookup. I think I showed you. I might have showed you when working with the forms. You can generate
Yes.
the lookup using the query. You can use the AOT query and you can create a lookup.
Okay, thanks.
Because I don't want to repeat those things everywhere. Okay, which is why I explained in the beginning and the forms, and in the reports I will just say, okay, you need to do in this fashion.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you can
Yes,
create a lookup using the AOT query, or if you want to create a combo box lookup, you can create a combo box lookup. Okay, or if you want to use a enum lookup, you can create a enum value and then you can create a lookup. All those are possible. You can do that.
okay.
The UI builder, we need to do that. Okay. Yep. Next, any other queries? And please remember, you have Visual Studio on hands here. Okay, you can write the C# code. So in C#, whatever you can do, You can do that in AX as well, because you can write the C# code and you can call it from AX. I showed you that in the references, na? So you can do that. Okay. Okay, that's it for the session. Let's meet again tomorrow, same time. Thank you all. Bye. I'm ending meeting for everyone if there are no questions.